Before we move on to the next segment, it's a very small question I want to ask you, and I want you to, remember or think about the answer in your mind, okay? So now if I ask you that in the next 10 years, what would define India? What would your answer be? And my three options are, the first, will it be money? The second, will it be machines? Or third, will it be mindset? Now, whatever your answer is, please keep it in your heart because the next session will be exploring the same. That why India's real inflection point lies at the intersection of economy, technology, and trust. And why getting this balance right matters to each and every one of us. Please help me welcome for this particular session, first of all, our moderator and host, Mr. Amit Gupta, Group CEO and founder Ecosystem Group, past chair of TI Global, to please join us here on stage. A big warm welcome, sir. Thank you so much for moderating the session. Welcome. Thank you. I would now like to call our speaker, Mr. Pramod Bhasin, Chairman ICRIER and founder of Genpact, to please join us here on stage. And I'll request our moderator to please welcome our guest with a bouquet. Thank you so much for joining, sir. I would also like to invite our next speaker on stage, Mr. Faisal Hammoud, Director of Business Development, Dubai Internet City, to please join us here on stage. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for joining. And I'll also request our moderator to please welcome our second speaker, Mr. Pramod Bhasin, Mr. Faisal Hammoud, on the stage. Thank you so much, sir, for joining. Ladies and gentlemen, keep the energy high because now you're going to get the answer to the question, India at the inflection point, economy, technology, and trust. Over to you, sir.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I hope it's been an insightful day for everyone here. Thank you for joining the TI Global Summit. I have the privilege of two very distinguished individuals having shaped different parts of the globe and the innovation ecosystem in different parts. So, of course, Pramod Bhasin, I think everyone knows Pramod Bhasin, founder of Genpact, and of course, someone who has been extremely influential and involved in shaping policy in India, runs ICRIER, ICRIER, which is the premier think tank in India. And we've got Faisal Hammoud from the Dubai Internet City, who has seen that evolution over the last 18 years of Dubai as an innovation hub, and we're going to talk about that. But just one caveat, I know that unfortunately Pramod has a flight to catch and will leave, have to unfortunately step away partway. So don't be alarmed, the conversations will continue. We wish Pramod safe travels ahead in advance.
Thank you.
Okay, so let me kick off with Pramod. So Pramod, you have, you built Genpact at a time when there probably wasn't much policy in place. Yeah, and you had to navigate India's regulatory environment into building arguably one of the biggest global powerhouses from India. Today, as a policy advisor to the government, you're helping shape the framework for the new economy. What has changed, in your view, in the last 25 years?
Thank you. And thank you for having me here. Really appreciate it. My extremely sincere apologies to the audience. I do have a flight to catch, which I cannot afford to miss because of some critical meetings that I have tomorrow in Delhi. So I will leave in about 10 minutes. My apologies. I thought the session was starting earlier at 4:20, 4 or so. But just to answer the question, one of the benefits we had when we started Genpact is there was no policy, right? So in fact, a lot of people didn't know what we were doing. So I would get a lot of queries from people saying, "Aap kar kya rahe ho? Piche, what are you doing with all these people in the back office at 9 at night? What the hell have you started?" A lot of people would come by and very amused. Our employees' parents would come by. And they say, "I want to see where you're taking my daughter. What are you making? Where is she going?" And it was really, Gurgaon was a gaon. Absolute, complete village, not what it is today. We started in Jaipur in similar fashion. But the absence of policy or the presence of light regulation helped us, and a fantastically, there were two other things that happened which were really good. A fantastically cooperative STPI organization, right, which gave us our telecom license. And they were very encouraging and very helpful, and I hope there are 1,000 more organizations would bloom in India the way they held our hands through this. That, and we got some tax-free 10-year holiday on taxes, which was extremely helpful given the startup nature of experimental nature of what we were trying to do. So I think today what has changed is that entrepreneurship is no longer a bad word. When I started Genpact, my mother asked me what was wrong with me that I would leave GE Capital to start something called Genpact, and whether my mind was in order or whether I had drunk too much the night before. She was convinced this was the worst mistake anybody could make. But entrepreneurship is alive and thriving. What isn't changed enough, and although I must acknowledge the huge strides India has made, is ease of doing business is still not good enough. Taxes and compliance burdens on companies, small companies, are too high. We just don't need them to be this high. They need to be sorted out. And I hope we have very light regulation. I hope someone looks at the regulations comprehensively to say, why do we need so much? I ran Genpact as a New York Stock Exchange public company for many years. The amount of time I spent there on compliance and regulation is less than what I spend on new entities I've started up in India now. And I think that must change. On the other side, availability of capital, people wanting to fund new investments, people wanting to fund entrepreneurs, look for new ideas, the galaxy of people here who are attending TIE, all of that has changed so much for the better. And it has been a phenomenal difference over the years.
And
sorry, long answer.
no, so thank you, Pramod. And Faisal, I want to come to you, but I want to ask Pramod a question that I think will set up quite nicely for what we're going to talk about. So if I look at some of the numbers, and don't hold me to it, 159,000 startups in India, right? 100 plus unicorns. Starting up is not really the problem, scaling up is. And you touched on compliance and the friction that creates. But what sort of policies do you think can be created that will enable entrepreneurs to scale ventures, not just start them? Because the biggest inflection point is that 10 million US number, right? That's the number beyond which it gets harder. So what will enable startup ventures to scale as global institutions in areas like deep tech, AI, solving for healthcare, agri-tech, financial services, and so on?
Yes. So I think in my experience, very important question. In my experience, what do startups really need? Actually, they don't need, by the way, a lot of advice, a lot of gyan. We're all very good at giving them gyan. I always tell startups, when someone is giving you gyan, just open their bio and see, did they ever build a startup? But did they make it successful, or are they just giving you gyan? Because you don't need gyan. I mean, the guys, if they got a good idea, let them go, let them do. They need market access, they need capital. Now, in capital, actually, I will say today, for a good idea, there's lots of capital. In fact, I run the Punjab Innovation Mission. I chair it. We find that if there are good ideas, I'll get 40 investors coming by to take that on. What we miss is market access. Opening of markets. There I would encourage the government to become a buyer in deep tech, in AI, in many other areas, to become a real buyer. And two, I would encourage a far greater revamp of our education system to include things like AI at not the top institutions that we are all very familiar with, IITs, IIMs, etc. They cater to less than 0.5% of India's population. But the middle tier of colleges and schools and education, which desperately need a revamp in terms of curriculum, in terms of, the earlier panel was discussing this in terms of AI, familiarity. Our teachers need to be taught it. Look at Estonia, what they're doing. They're teaching their teachers, 20,000 teachers, about AI intensely so that they can teach it to all the students there. That's what we need. We need to upgrade our skills at that level to grab hold of what could be the best opportunity for India to create giant new industries like the IT services industry, but focused on deep tech or quantum or AI. That's really where I would focus.
Yeah. I mean, creating IP for the world, basically.
Creating IP for the world, we have the demographics. We are the AI factory for the world. We already are with the GCCs. That's what we will be. We have the demographics. Nobody else has it. Let's use it as best as we can.
So let's talk to somebody who has seen this happen over the last 18 years. Yeah, you have a. So Faisal, I am going to ask you to introduce the Dubai Internet City a little bit, maybe over a minute, if you could share more about that. But I do want to say a few things. You have a Minister of AI. You've had one in place. Whenever I speak, and I live in Singapore, and Singapore is very progressive in terms of capital investments and stuff.
They appointed the Minister of AI when?
2017.
2017.
2017, when AI, before OpenAI was formed. OpenAI was 2018, yeah? So, but one of the fundamental things is coming from an ecosystem like Singapore and India, whenever I talk to technology innovators, they all talk about how frictionless it is in Dubai. There's capital flow, the right sort of capital flow, less friction in terms of trying new things. So share with us a little bit about that journey, and from what Pramod said, how has Dubai adopted some of those policies to enable that?
Thank you, Amit. First, thank you everyone for attending the session, and thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be with you. As I said, I always admired what you did since many days, and it's a pleasure to finally meet you in person. Dubai Internet City has been in operation for the past 25 years, and it was part of a vision that His Highness has established in transforming Dubai from an oil-based economy into a knowledge-based economy. And that journey has been 25 years. Over the past 25 years, we've seen all the evolution of the technology, all the way from, and that's why the @sign, if you look here, as a sponsor, @sign is our logo, because we started at that era. And then we've seen the 2.0, we've seen all the Gs of the digital, the transformation of telecom, and all the digital transformation that we are into. So we have been a catalyst of technology in the Middle East region, and we're proudly can say that we're the ICT hub of the Middle East region with over 4,000 technology companies operating from Dubai Internet City, 31,000 IT professionals that deliver services to more than 100 countries around the world. They use Dubai Internet City as a free zone and as a regional hub to deliver services to the wider ecosystems. Yeah.
No, I think it's been an exceptional, we've seen the evolution. But before I get into the next question with you, we're entrepreneurs, so we adapt to limitations. And right now, we need a bit of Pramod's time before he heads off. So Pramod, before you head off and get on that plane, I wanted to ask you a question specific to our education institutions and research and the talent, right? We have some of the best education institutions. They've got great research capabilities. We have millions of engineers, scientists, and domain experts. So we have the talent pool. Maybe if I could pose two questions to you. I'm combining a couple of points here in one. One is, what can be done to enable that talent pool and enable startups to leverage this talent pool and shape it? Second, how do you actually take that research capability and drive commercialization of IP through our education institutions?
Absolutely. I think very, very critical points. Certainly, we've got terrific talent. We've got some terrific institutions. I wouldn't say we have enough. I think we are woefully short of very high-quality institutions. Given the caliber of people we have, and the people in India are as good, if not better than most. I think the one thing I find in the research R&D programs that are happening, the government is investing a lot right now. They've announced a 1 lakh crore fund for deep tech, for quantum computing, etc. These are outstanding moves, which have never been done before in the history of our country. And I congratulate the government. I think in those respects, some things that are happening I absolutely love. But on the R&D side, what people honestly need, the innovators, they need markets. So if the government was to say to them that, look, develop products and innovation for us in these following areas. You're seeing it in defense happening with larger companies, but you could do that in deep tech, you could do that in cybersecurity, you could do that in AI, you could do that in government processes, you could do it in healthcare. I mean, there are so many areas where I wish the government could do that, because then it gives these companies a buyer for good prototypes. No handouts, please. No handouts from the government required. But then saying, look, we would love to try your products out and encourage you to build them or prototype them or run as pilots, or we'll do it jointly with industry and give you market access. I think that would be good. Two, a far greater industry-academia partnership. Right now, our rules around universities, what professors can or can't do, where they can earn money from, how they can earn money, how much money they can earn on consulting, how they can participate with other companies in product development, etc., are very limiting. Are very limiting. China has opened it up completely. We have to look at China to see what they've done. America has already been open. The US, UK, Europe has been open. We need to loosen those bonds. We need to allow that to work with far lesser friction, so that industry is intertwined completely with the research that's happening to make it both applied research and solve for problems. You know, the earlier speakers were talking about how Korea solves for problems through research. We have so many issues that could do with deep research, agriculture, healthcare, you can talk about it all. So I think if we can bridge those gaps, much better. It's not easy. It's hard. There are many pitfalls. You know, I know that at some level the finance ministry is reluctant to give incentives for R&D because they feel it's been misused, frankly, in the past. And the fact is that, you know, there is a lot of misuse, unfortunately, from our side. I'm an industry entrepreneur, but I can tell you there's a lot of misuse on the private sector. And I can understand why the government gets nervous about it and doesn't want to go there. But we have to find our solution. We have to build trust, is what I would say. And the point about trust is absolutely more. With that, Amit, I'm sorry. I'm just going to have to run out on you. I'm really sorry. But I don't want to risk the traffic, and I have to get out to Delhi again for something. I'm sorry, I came in this morning. This is not how I wanted to go, but please forgive me, everyone. If you'll allow me this, I'll be deeply grateful. Thank you.
Absolutely, Pramod. We will miss you. I think it's, thank you for braving it out. And I'll just keep quoting you from all the chats we've had.
Thank you. I'm so sorry. Please.
1 second.
Oh. Thank you, but I'm not going to carry it.
No, we'll keep it.
Just,
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm so sorry.
All right, no worries. We are going to focus on how Dubai is going to be building, all the bilateral work that's happening between India and Dubai, and I think there's a lot to talk about. And I think we'll build on some of the conversations, Faisal, you and I were having with Pramod as well. Yeah. I think there were some very interesting points, and we can probably build on those. But, we talked about R&D, right? And one of the conversations that, we were having earlier, and you talked about how in the last 18 years you've seen Dubai Internet City, which is basically the regional hub in the Middle East for innovation, move away from a sales-focused location, center, to an R&D-based center where you're building products. So do you want to share a little bit about how that transformation happened?
Yeah, certainly, yes. The thing is that basically, just to go back, so part of the vision was basically to attract the big MNCs at that point in time in order to come and offer their services in the region that have also significantly impacted the overall development in the region. But over time, we've seen the need, and this came also from the fact that the region became more matured. So we've seen the need of building specific products that are customized to our needs rather than just getting any other shelf products. And with that in mind, we started seeing more innovation centers opening up in Dubai Internet City. So today we have 20 innovation centers that are run by our business partners like Oracle, Hisense, Tata, Visa, Master, Snap, call it. And these centers are built in Dubai Internet City in order to ensure that there are specific products that are built to cater to the region and the wider region. And I can give you an example. When I say the wider region, for instance, I mean Visa services 96 countries out of their office in Dubai Internet City. So Dubai is a very good gateway for companies to go global from. And just to build on what Pramod was saying is the fact that today it is a very good sandbox in order to try innovation, put innovation, and then you have a government demand that makes it very attractive because there is a demand on evolution. We would like to be the smartest city, so anyone who has a creative idea is welcome to join and enjoy part of what's happening around there.
And just building on that, I mean, obviously, you know, I have spent time at the Dubai Internet City Hub here at TGS. I think it is one of the busiest hubs even here, right? And there's a lot of activity, a lot of buzz. What is the biggest opportunity you're seeing from a bilateral perspective between India and Dubai? And what makes you so excited about the opportunity from the entrepreneur ecosystem in India?
Yeah, thank you. That's a very good question. And that's one of the main reasons why that we're here. Just to put things into perspective, so our relationship with TAI goes back to 25 years. So when the Dubai office, TAI, opened in Dubai, it has opened first in Dubai Internet City right at the same year where we have started. And I think today the relationship over years has always been strong with India. However, especially in the past 4 or 5 years since we've signed the CEPA agreement back in 2022, we have seen a significant increase. Basically, the target for that CEPA is to reach $200 billion worth of trade in 2030. And in the first half of 2025, the number itself was around 38 billion already. So we're not very far, and I'm talking about the first half. Now, it's not about what I see in terms of opportunity, but it's about actual numbers. In fact, a lot of that non-oil trade has come from telecom, AI, and IT services. So the numbers show that there is a very high demand on the Indian technology, and this is why we're here. We're here to tell everyone that you need to look at this seriously, and you need to think about how could you benefit out of the ease of doing business, the tax environment, and and the reach that you can get from Dubai.
And can I ask you a question, and perhaps we didn't speak about this earlier, but there are fundamentally a few global innovation hubs that are playing out in today's new economy,
Yes.
right? But as I said earlier, when I talk to innovators or investors, we see the easiest, and when I say easiest capital flow in Dubai for AI and deep tech, it's not because there's more money. When I say easiest, the barriers seem to be much lower.
Yes.
The mindset seems to be, let's try it out, build fast, fail fast approach, right? And which is what's needed. How do you think Dubai differentiated itself compared to some of the other innovation hubs that we've seen, outside of the United States? I mean, other parts of the world, like, Singapore, where I live, and so on.
Yeah. I would say we're moving steadily. We know what we want, and we have very clear plans on what we'd like to achieve, all the way since we started back in 2017, when we had the first AI minister in the world appointed. And we have seen the importance of this, and we've seen that it's coming up. Even today, again, back to what Pramod was saying, I mean, in the UAE, AI has already been adopted into the educational ecosystem all the way from kindergarten. So our education minister was like, I will not be the guy to be blamed in the future saying that our kids are not exposed. And we're not talking, here we're talking about creating a new generation of talented community, if you want, that will use the technology in the right order whenever it is required. Aside from that, I think the very important thing, and that's very solid, is the government commitments that we have shown and the willingness of moving very fast, the willingness of basically our ambition of becoming the smartest city in the world, or what you see in terms of adaptation of AI, is also very critical on the movement of this. So today, if you look at overall the AI, aside from investments, there's a lot of demand because we're beyond digital. I mean, 10 years ago, we have moved into digital. Now we are into an AI era. So all of this makes it very attractive for all companies to basically contribute into adding to the overall AI development into the region and to go to the world.
So, as we wrap up, a couple of thoughts for the benefit of the audience here. And obviously, you're here with a mission, and you've seen the evolution of the Dubai Internet City. How do you think this, the Dubai Internet City can support the growth and expansion of international technology companies and all of the budding innovators here? How can they benefit specifically, and what would you like them to do?
Sure. So Dubai as a hub has been recognized as the easiest city of doing business basically in our region. And I think that makes it very easy for companies to make decisions and to relocating. One of the things that companies try to avoid is bureaucracy, and basically, this transition is not an easy thing. But with the fact that we have managed to make things easier for doing business, makes it also easier for the companies. There are a lot of programs that are very specific for startups, for entrepreneurs. So the Golden Visa, for instance, now, and that is a very solid strategy by the government in order to attract and retain talent in the region that will help us move on. And in reality, what I would say is Dubai Internet City is a gateway for anyone within the technology ecosystem. So you're a freelancer, we have freelance permits where it give you access to private marketplaces to get business opportunities. If you are a startup, we have an incubation ecosystem that has supported over 1,100 startups and who have generated more than $2.5 billion worth of investment. And when it comes to the expansions, we are very committed to keep on expanding the regulatory framework, the logistics that is required, and we've already invested something around $550 million over the past few years, and we have just announced $146 million worth of investment of building another 236,000 square feet of innovative spaces to cater to the expansion that we have.
So, opportunity to base themselves there, access to capital, access to markets, access to talent that they can bring from within Dubai or overseas. And basically all the things Pramod was talking about as well. So perhaps the opportunity is to build on that bilateral trade and hopefully hit that number of 100 billion in the next 4 years now. But Faisal, thank you very much for supporting TIE for the last 20 plus years and being here and supporting the TIE Global Summit. And thank you to the audience for being a wonderful audience and being flexible and letting us evolve this session and work through one of our panelists having to head to the airport as well. But we wish you a great evening and enjoy the rest of the program.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, Amit. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, sir, for the session and for, again, asking wonderful questions. I think the real answers lie when you ask the correct questions, and I'm sure the questions were asked so correctly that both the speakers could give the correct answers. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for giving your time, and thank you for flying back. Thank you.